Hello. Everything should work fine. Yeah, I see that the stream is running. So hello. Today we are finally with Krzysztof. Say hello, Krzysztof. Chris. And hello, I'm Szymon, and today we are going to uh, describe briefly last pull request I launched, and also I will introduce you to the my concept of how we can roll back transactions when something went wrong, and we're gonna do some tests to check if this approach is correct. So okay, let's start from the pull request. Last time I put this pull. Uh, yeah. I forgot about it. Yeah. Uh, okay. Okay. So there is a pull request orchestrator, receive an event, and run the next step. And the most important part is in the changes is the part in SAGA orchestrator and SAGA engine. There are a lot of different files modified because those are the changes in the core of our application. So there are a lot of things here, but I will focus only on SAGA engine and SAGA host because there is main flow through those components. So SAGA host is the class when the whole orchestrator is set up, and SAGA host, SAGA engine, and SAGA orchestrator, of course. I forgot about this. So SAGA host has orchestrator and client, and it's responsible to set up those orchestrator and clients and make it run properly. So there is a short script, let's say 4 lines that initialize clients, gets the client subscriber to subscribe to orchestrator, and also give the orchestrator to the client to subscribe to this orchestrator when something is pushed by orchestrator to the queues. So yeah, next layer, let's say, is the orchestrator, and orchestrator now has two methods. Last, yeah, yeah. Yes. First, I start the orchestrator with subscriber to receive messages, to have the mm, to have the let's say possibility to output something. And then if we are our orchestrator is set up, then we can put this orchestrator to our client to consume this orchestrator to have, because now orchestrator is fully set up, so it's ready to use by the client. Okay, so there is a SAGA orchestrator here. It has three methods actually, and first is start. This is the first, I mean this step when we pass the subscriber here, and now the SAGA orchestrator is ready to use, because if we receive, if we push, if some component push, client will push the message to the orchestrator, then the orchestrator will use this SAGA subscriber to send new message. So that's why it's so important to first set up this subscriber. And also I added a second method, this rollback. And this rollback will be used in the piece of code I will introduce today for when we find a message on that letter Q. Then this rollback should be invoked. And yeah, based on transaction ID, we can compensate the message, the transaction with this transaction ID. And last file I want to describe is the SAGA engine, because we have whole algorithm here, and we talked about processing, but maybe not about compensating. It's very quick, and here we getting the transaction state and setting that the is not active, and we getting the compensations for this transactions ID, transaction ID from the compensation store, and creates the collection of engine output with the output message with the content of the compensation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it. Yeah, maybe, but I think it will be a great work for the next task related with SAGA log and persisting state of our transaction. And then it maybe will change also the interface and even this model. Right now, I rather wanted to focus on this flow, right? That we want just mark the transaction state that is not active, and maybe it will evolve. But right now, it's simply just that it's not active. And I need to check, mm, and maybe you can write a comment because I'm not sure if we check. Probably we should check here. Is it already non-active? And also in yeah, and also here we also should validate this state that is active. So yeah, so it's great comments. So you can comment this. Yeah. So this is, let's say, the most important parts of this PR. There are also other things like identifier services or mm, in-memory implementations of compensation store and uh, and I think it's yeah, and some other things, and yeah, I invite you to review it. Uh, Maybe I will review it myself to check if everything is as I remember. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also see that probably I will should move some files to other projects because like interfaces. But yeah, I will inspect this later, and you also probably will comment this out. So yeah, we can move to next part of our stream, and this is the um, changes related to handling the rollbacking uh, with RabbitMQ DLX queues, so that letters. And yeah, let me open. Okay, I will. Yeah. Uh, yes, yes, and I implemented only one dead letter. Yes, 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 yeah. Yeah, there is only one DLX queue, so no worry. This time is not the case that we have a lot of queues. We have only one, and we have here the codes that initialize our RabbitMQ plugin, and what I added here, there is exchange declare, and I added, maybe let's start here. From here, two options to our RabbitMQ Saga options. This is the DLX exchange and the name of the DLX queue. So some, let's see, these names it can change. Those are my first picks. Pick. I mean, we can. Uh, you mean, okay, here in transaction ledger. Um, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So this is yes, these options are from the app settings JSON, yeah. So it's not configurable by the client, but by us, the developers who develop this this RabbitMQ plugin, or no, who run the this orchestrator. Uh, I mean, in this view of this JSON file, I mean, when we define some transaction, I think it's not needed. It's rather technical, concern. Hmm. For each queue separately, because for each queue, I will show you. Each queue need to has this in arguments dictionary, this header, let's say, x that letter exchange, and those messages that are not processed correctly will go here to this DLX queue exchange, which is from RabbitMQ options. And yeah, and here we have our DLX queue that are that every messages from this exchange will go to this DLX queue. So we define this queue DLX with this exchange, and all of let's say completion queues, because we are interested in completion queues only, probably, and compensate. And also we should handle compensate, probably. Uh, yeah, but how to compensate the compensation? Mm, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we are during rollbacks. What else we can do? We can get this message and store it for, I mean, a little bit and try next time. And because we are already in the rollback state, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for queues that we are subscribing, I mean, the orchestrator is subscribing, It's not makes sense probably because why? Or maybe. Mhm. Okay, about compensation. Mhm. Okay. 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 So I added that letter for all queues, and for input and for compensation and for completion, and it can be refactored, but for later. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. But it will be, you know, this will be implemented in our orchestrator, probably. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I put everything here in our DLX queue. So yeah, everything should go to our DLX. And okay, so here we get the definition of the queues. So we declaring the queues for transaction queues, and also this one for the Lex, and we binding it. And here there is a bug, I see, because it should be queue exchange. And yeah, and okay, and next things went different in the consumers. So we have our consumers, and here we have additional consumer for DLX, and this consumer will get, there are async and sync uh, also type of this consumer, and here we executing the rollback when something will received on our DLX queue. And we deserialize it as an output message, and here it shouldn't be the output message, because now we know that it could be also the input message. So yes, and yeah, and if something is on the legs, we execute the rollback on our orchestrator, and orchestrator will handle it, and yeah, engine will. Yes, yes. Okay. Uh-huh. We roll back in when something is on the legs, and yeah, we can implement here different behavior. Or uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but when we can roll back this then if something is put on this. Okay, so client will need to decide when the rollback. So we need to introduce new queue, let's say, for only for rollbacking, because right now rollbacking is from this DLX, right? And uh, and if we don't have this DLX, I mean this DLX will not be used for rollbacking, only for redirecting back to the original queue, then we should somehow provide the communication to our orchestrator that we want to roll back. Yeah. No, three. One for input, event compensate, and completion. But this compensate is for pushing the compensate message, not receiving the uh, message that you need to roll back. So this is the queue when our orchestrator put message and the client receive this message and decide to compensate. Not the queue that client want to notify us that we need the transaction need to be rolled back. Mm-hmm. That I thought that this DLX is the mm, let's say sign that that transaction went wrong and we want to roll back. Mm-hmm. Are you drawing on Miro or? Okay, so maybe I will open it. Let's see if we have this flow. Okay. Uh, mm-hmm. Step. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I know that cats likes some computer devices like things. So yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but mm-hmm. Yeah, but we wanted to use this acknowledgement mechanism. That's why we introduced the DLX, and I think it's reasonable to, act when we see that something is on that letter. That means that something went wrong, and we should probably, you know, uh, roll back the transaction because it, this will go to the LX when the message failed X times. I don't remember what is the default value, but it's not like the first time you failed, then message will go to the letter. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. Mhm. But I believe that we can use for this DLX not the compensate queue, but use that letter because we know that this message was failed, so probably something. Uh, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's good. let's 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 check this. Maybe there is a better solution. I think this is good solution. but let's discuss it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can you explain this? Because I don't see that we need to do such things. Because when something went wrong and that letter is, I mean, client, when something went wrong with the message, he can just uh, knock this, right? Yes. Ah, okay. When the orchestrator, some, okay. Mm, yeah, but it should be okay because when the mess. No, nothing should be left, and queues messages from the Lex has the queue name, the originally queue name, so we will know from what is the queue that the message is from, right? So it shouldn't be a problem. But I need to extend the handling the DLX to handle new, let's say, completion messages, regular messages, and compensate messages, all of them. Because right now I've implemented only the mm, completion message, not this input message and not the uh, compensate message. Yeah. Yes, 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 and I think yes, this is a good idea because yeah. Sorry, yeah, you can say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Okay, and it's about all type of messages, also this completion. Okay, so so we want to send the let's say error message on the let's say rollback queue, right? So we need to create rollback queue then, because we no. So in what situation we want to rollback then? What will trigger the rollback? Okay, so compensate message, and that's why I said that we should create one queue for rollbacking, right? Because compensate message for orchestrator, not compensate message for the service, for the client. And if something went wrong, the client will have to send the message on the queue, on, let's say, to the rollback queue, and let's name it like that, and then with the transaction ID, maybe something else, and then orchestrator will receive this message and will run the transaction for the rollback for this transaction. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Three queues. One first, but let me describe you, because maybe we have not precise enough naming. First is event, let's say event queue, when it's from the service to the orchestrator with the compensate and with the payload. Then we have completion. It's from orchestrator to service with the payload only. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. This. Mm-hmm. Uh, the completion from orchestrator. Mm-hmm. And compensate event is also from orchestrator to service. It means that we want to compensate event. Yeah. And then if we don't want to trigger the rollback from the DLX, we need to have one more, but not per, let's say, transaction step, but we need to have one general queue for compensation from service to orchestrator. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh, Actually, it's only for only one, not per transaction step or something like that. We can use only one general for rollbacking. This will have only transaction ID. Yeah, I use this. I used DLX. Actually, hmm exactly. That's why I implement like this. hmm Yeah, but if a message from Mhm. We will have hmm hmm yeah. Okay, we need to check if the DLX can be configured like uh, the messages will put into the DLX after 10 times of knocks. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, so then we will not have this case that something lagged 10 times, probably. But still, we have this event and completion event. We need to, handle it different than, mm, I mean, completion event and the event or compensate event. Because different things will happen. We can consider different situation when those things happen. So we need to probably handle this in different way. And we can, for example, create three DLX for events, for completion events, and for compensate events, and then will handle it in different way um, from this layer, from the queues layer, or maybe we can have one queue and then we'll decide based on the state of transaction in our SAGA log that we need to what we should do with this message from the DLX. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's rather bug. Uh, Event, not completion event, because event is from service to orchestrator. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also, but yeah, there is, I think, one let's say situation when the orchestrator is not available uh, till some time, and then if message is still on the queue will be pushed into the DLX because it's not handled after s- some certain time. But I don't know what is the limit, and is it uh, so? Mhm. Yeah, yeah. This is this is the next step that event is like something happened. So completion event is like, okay, so the next thing can go with I mean, then let's launch the next step. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, let's move up and let's point out on this schema where is the event and where is the completion. So event is start order payload, and event completion is validate inventory, validate inventory. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we need to a little bit change the naming in our in the orchestrator. Yeah. Yeah, maybe because I had this perspective or the orchestrator that yeah, we have this event, so let's complete it with this different event. Never mind. Yeah, this is a good idea to change the name because it's misleading, I see, and that the messages from service to orchestrator should have completion, should name completion, and from orchestrator to service should be name should be the event, just the event. So, mhm. Okay. So, maybe I will create the issue on the GitHub, and it has to be done because everything actually work correctly right now, but the naming is misleading, and uh, I didn't notice it when I was working on it, but you realized me that it can be. Okay. Why this not work? What the hell? I don't know. This is lax or what? I struggle with adding the backlog item. Mm, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I clicking, but nothing happened. Yeah, it should work, but probably OBS is uh, okay. I managed. I don't know how, but I managed. To orchestrator. Okay, I've just created the issue and I assigned myself. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. And if completion event is snagged, uh, it's not let's say possible because. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. I think it's only solution to try n times with let's say some timeout and just just write error in logger and continue because I think we have limited, you know. Mhm. Mhm. Yes. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, we should put it back in the compensation. Uh, Try it for certain number of times and with the timeout, and if it will still fail, then we can't do more, basically. Yeah. So yeah, but not infinitely, right? We can't infinitely put it back. Yeah. I mean, we can create some counter in our Saga log. It will be in the transaction state that we tried to roll back it n times and then just stop if the counter is too large, too big. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so and this is for completion event, right? Or completion event or compensate event. I missed it. Because I thought we talked about compensate event, but okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think we should have this on our. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the bug in the service, right? It's just the bug. We can't do more. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be somewhere, but not be handled. We can introduce, let's say, generation 2 of the DLX. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. On. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I suggested to add second generation because if we want to have some messages that we don't want to process, you know, because it was failed in the regular um, dead letter. Uh, then because we don't want to block, let's say, block. We don't want to have these messages to be stuck on our regular, let's say, dead letter, because in this dead letter can be messages to compensate, and that compensate uh, can be valid. Mm-hmm. I mean, in the second generation, yes, because it will be only for, situation like we can't handle. We can do more because we want to store it somewhere, but we can do more, so we at least can put it on the separate dead letter that we tried to process these dead letters, but we can't. That's why it's this second generation. But this is only suggestion, and I don't have, this. I didn't think a lot about this, so okay, okay. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. So mm, I need to check. So we decided to put to ch- ch- okay. No, I didn't do anything. So let's go back to this. How to trigger the mm, compensation from the dead letter, right? In the, yes. Uh-huh. Yes. 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 Okay. Yeah, and I understand it, but we will have we can have in the dead letter also some other messages that uh, we can't. Yeah, some other messages, those messages also on the dead letter. And if we don't want to act on them, then that's why I thought maybe we should, uh, you know, because we will receive, orchestrator will receive this and just refuse it, right? If something, but maybe we just don't want to subscribe to those events because right now we will receive, orchestrator will receive all of them from that letter. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I really don't like this that we will, that orchestrator will be notified about those two. Yeah, yeah. Only three DLX. That's okay. And if we will decide that maybe we won't act on event, we can just subscribe to this queue for event and do something with it. So I think it's uh, can be easy extended. So and yeah, so I think it was great discussion, and I will then implement more, and I will improve the naming. I will improve the handling the events, create more dead letters. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's right. And yeah, is it what it is? Okay, so maybe I will finish for today because I will not, write test if we have not fully done with this as I expected. So yeah, we had great discussion. I know what I'm going to do for the next stream, and I will be on the next stream uh, in 2 weeks because in 1 week I will be on holidays in Sweden. So Chris will handle the next one. Okay, so I think it's all. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and see you.